Hello and welcome. My name is Scott Suskovic. I'm pastor at Christ Lutheran Church, and welcome to this podcast that we call Deeper Dive, in which we take a look at the previous Sunday's sermon and go at a deeper level for a great conversation. We're glad you're here.
Hey, this is Pastor Ryan here, and I am here with
Pastor Adrian.
And we're doing our deeper dive this week. This week we covered our second to the last of our "This Is Not" or "That's None of Your Business" sermon series.
And other words of grace.
Yeah, and other words of grace. This week was "That's Not Fair." I'm sure you've said that before in your life, haven't you, Adrian?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about, all the times we can say that to ourselves and, even just real time, seeing someone's talent and what they can do and knowing I could practice and still probably never reach the height of their musical ability. I just think, wow, that's just not fair.
Yeah, I have that same thought, almost exclusively. I never think I can't get there. I think I need another life. I need more time. And then I thank God because I'm going to hopefully get that. Because I want to learn to play the cello. I think that's the coolest instrument ever.
The cello.
And I just don't have the time.
Yeah, well, and that takes so much time.
Oh yeah. I'm reminded of a woman who was in the New York subway, had her violin, and she was in a conversation with somebody. Not unlike what we're having here, and they asked, well, what's the violin for? And she said, oh, I'm in the symphony, right, the Philharmonic, and the person said, oh, I could never do that, and her reply was, no, you don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. You could.
Yeah.
I think
right.
I believe everybody's able to do whatever, right?
Yeah.
But am I willing to put in 6 hours a day playing the same three notes? No, the answer is no.
That's exactly right. Kevin Hart, the comedian, he's so successful and he's so funny. And he says something very similar. He's like, everyone wants to be funny. Everyone wants this type of fame, but no one wants to put in the work.
There.
And he puts in a ton of work.
There.
And he's serious about it. He's so funny and so serious about what he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw him in Borderlands. Took my son to go see Borderlands. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Don't bother. I'm just going to pan that one right now as we get into other things that aren't fair because they stole my money. No, that's not. So yeah, we talked about the Olympics and the whole thing that's going on with Jordan Chiles. So if you haven't seen the sermon, go back or maybe Google Jordan Chiles to figure out what that is. And then I guess the gist of it, the kind of crux of the sermon where I want to jump off is you and I. Well, maybe not us because we're perfect, but most other people who are imperfect. I'm glad you laughed because otherwise that would have been just like the most horrible statement. We think that we're good people, don't we? I don't think I've ever come across anybody who said to themselves or to me, "I'm a bad person," and we may have said, "I've done something bad." Or, I've had bad times or seasons in my life, but I don't think I've ever come across anybody who says, I'm a bad person. Have you ever come across somebody like that?
Well, I definitely think that a lot of us think that, I don't do this, so I'm better or good that way, or I do think our culture suffers with shame and guilt a lot that we do internalize, especially with social media, like, I'm not good enough.
Oh,
I'm not.
Yeah. Mommy shaming.
Yeah,
that's one that
there's
I'm
a lot of shaming.
Learning about that there's this idea of, what makes the best parent. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do that, then, right, you get this shame and guilt.
Yeah, and that's why I think we also do create other criteria because we need something where we are meeting those marks.
Oh.
But I think we have both. I think we do have these religious sensibilities that tell us that we're good or acceptable, but I think there are some other undercurrents that tell us different messages about our worthiness and our goodness and our capacity. So I think there are a couple of different dynamics, but I do think that we like to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, I know we do. Yeah. And this is the idea, right? This is my idea that we tell ourselves that we're doing good or moving on that way because nobody wants to know that they're doing bad. And if they do have that, then I would like to think that that's changed. Mm-hmm. we do good means that we are good. But what I found is we tend to judge ourselves by our intent, and we judge others by their actions.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement because in our minds, we know why we do something.
Yeah.
And we know that it comes from like a good place or, our intention. And, the consequences, maybe it doesn't turn out that way. But I think because we don't know that, what the other person's thinking internally, we can only base our judgment on what we see and the consequences.
How can I do otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So I think this comes to the biggest kind of head in text messages and emails.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right? I text you and you read a thing and you put a little snest on there and all of a sudden, Pastor Ryan is not a nice guy. Right? And we do this.
Point.
I've read a thing and I've had to go, nope, read it like a robot. Right? Read the words
Yeah.
as they are. Put it always in the best light. Because if I
Yeah.
don't, all of a sudden, you just called me what?
Yeah, I read with emails, especially and text messages, we read it 2 levels lower than it is intended.
What does that mean, 2
Like
levels?
like a period means like a frowny face.
Oh, yeah.
Like a exclamation mark is almost neutral.
It's almost neutral.
So like sometimes like I will overuse exclamation marks because I want it to be read in a neutral tone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't, and so but then everything like sounds. But I've also heard that if you know the person well, you can read it in their voice and
Yeah.
know how they're saying it, so you
Yeah.
don't have to overuse punctuation and smiley faces and
Yeah.
stuff. But so that's just a communication thing that it was like a formalized thing, even in the workplace, that
Okay.
we just read things because we do have a tendency to downplay the tone, or I don't know what it is about technology that does that. But
Yeah, what
you're
is
right,
it
you
about
have
the
to-
human brain that always puts it in the...
Yeah, I don't know.
Thank God for gifts. That's how I like to. That way you can see at
Oh,
least some
I love
expression
gifts.
that I can, right?
Yeah.
And I've done this with you and Scott. I've written something and then I thought, you know what? That could have gone really bad. And then you'll like hit the laugh button. I'm like, oh, thank you, Adrian,
I'm glad
for not
Can ease your
seeing
mind.
that and then any other way.
Yeah.
But this idea that that we see ourselves in the best light, right, means that then we're naturally putting ourselves in the best light. And then when we compare ourselves to other people, we can look at them and we can say, well, they're not like us, right? I'm good and they're evil, which gets at this idea that I wish more people would really wrestle with. That Jesus, here it is. Here's your dig deeper dive nugget.
Point. Yeah.
Jesus didn't come to make you righteous. Jesus didn't come to make you holy. He came to fix your relationship. And that is that it is His righteousness, it is His holiness that gives us our righteousness and our holiness. It's the relationship with Him. And that we have a relationship with Him means that we get to use and have His righteousness and holiness. And that becomes really pertinent in that if you don't have His righteousness and His holiness, then you don't have righteousness or holiness. He's the only one that's perfect. And everything and everyone else is less than perfect. And that's how when Jesus says, I came to fulfill the law, I'm not going to remove a single jot, a single tittle, right? That's what He says. That's how He does that. And that's how you and I can have fabrics that have elastic and cotton at the same time.
Yeah.
Thanks be to Jesus.
Thanks be to God. Yeah. Jesus reconciled so many relationships. And, because of our human judgment, like we're always cutting people off and having, riffs and, judging. But when we have the mind of Christ, when we're given that cloak of righteousness that we have, that we can see through Jesus's eyes and how those rifts aren't there, those barriers aren't there. And that's Christ's righteous judgment, which we don't naturally have. It's something that is a gift. Like you're saying, it comes from Christ, who is perfect. We're not perfect.
No, yeah. But this gets at this idea. I think this is one of those things that distinguishes the denominations, right? So many denominations want to say that this group or this person is outside of the love of God because they act in this way or they do that thing. And what I what I found is that thing that group doesn't like tends to be a cultural problem. So we have culturally acceptable sins and culturally unacceptable sins. And if my sin is culturally acceptable, my sin is vanity, it's culturally acceptable. And why is that? Because it makes me look good, it makes me work harder, and that insecurity makes me a better employee and a better pastor and all those other things. No. You just don't see all the way I judge you in my head.
Right, yeah.
Right? You don't see how I minimize other people in my head. Right? Or I discount or find less valuable people. Right? That's what the sin of vanity does. Is it allows me to look at someone, a beautiful person of God, and say, nah, you're not really as valuable. I can mistreat you. Holy cow!
Wow.
That is a sin. And yet that's going on in my head, and you can't see that. All you see is, oh, Pastor Ryan shows up. He does a good job. Things are tight. Right? And if he calls that vanity and that's a sin, then I like that sin. Okay, what's the worst sin you can think of? Let's not mention it. Let's go to something. Let's go to murder, right? Murder's a nice one. You ever watch a murder mystery? Right? The Only Murderers in the Building. Do you watch this on Hulu?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Totally go check that out.
Okay.
It's got Steve Martin and
Selena
Gomez
Yes.
and the other guy.
Okay.
I can't think of.
Oh, Martin Short.
Martin
I've heard
Short.
of it, yeah.
It's amazing. It's hilarious. And people are dying in this. They're dying, and it's fascinating and wonderful, right? And so we look at the murderer and we go, oh, that murderer is a bad person, right? Oh, but that vain person, that one's not so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on here, right?
Yeah, judging sins.
Judging
based on what's
sins.
culturally acceptable.
Are you the judge of sins?
No way.
I'm not either.
No way.
So here it is, right? We judge according to our values, and Jesus says, no, all of them. And that's offensive, all of them. For God so loved the world, he came for everyone who believes in him, right?
Amen.
And so there is the point. We're not trying to be righteous. We're trying to be in relationship. And if we can get to that point, then we can understand that what we're really trying to do is get everybody in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because everybody's already fallen.
Right. No matter when they may come along, just like the laborers in the field or how they come along.
That's it. Or how big the sin is. So you might judge my vanity as a lesser sin and a murder as a greater sin, in the same way that, working less hours, right? But it's still on the line. And then I would say, okay, well then who is out? Right?
Yeah.
And I think the answer there is anybody who decided that they don't want this gift, that it's not a gift, that the relationship is invaluable. Or they say they are the ones who have their own righteousness.
Oh, it comes from them. Yeah. Because I think, this idea of fairness is, we think that we can control consequences and it's based on cause and effect. But there's also a lot of power in that concept of fairness, that we can affect a certain outcome.
Ooh.
And so I think there's a thing about power in there, where we think our power is. And, when Christ comes, Christ is the one who is the power.
Yes.
And so we give ourselves to this power, saying we receive grace, we receive this forgiveness, we receive God's love through Christ. We can't and don't control these other things.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful, because that's what I want to do with my good works, right? Jesus, look, I have tithed. I have never missed a Sunday. I helped that dude jump his car the other day, right? You saw me do that. I was almost late for work, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that means that I can command you now, right? Isn't that what that means? That I get to tell Jesus what to do?
Yeah, I can tell you I fulfilled these things. It's
Yep.
like a manipulation of God. I've done these things, so you need to, respond to me in this way.
Yeah, hook it up, Jesus.
And that's not how it works. So
That is not how it works. In fact, that's the upside down kingdom of Jesus, isn't it? That he says, great, you're going to do all of these things, and you're going to still suffer. One of the greatest lines in Acts is, go tell Paul how much he will suffer for my kingdom. Right? As if Paul didn't give up enough. And by the way, he was perfect. Jew born on the third day of the house of Benjamin, circumcised on the 8th day, right? I like to say
all
that
those requirements.
all those requirements,
Yeah.
and he considers them waste.
Nothing.
Scubla. Go ahead and look up scubla. That's your homework today. It's a Greek word, scubla. It is a curse word. It's in the Bible.
It's there, huh?
So we want to control God. We want to do that, and we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is all submission all the time.
Yeah. Thanks be to God that God's grace is not fair.
Amen. Which gets at the last and final point, right? That if we want to compare ourselves to others, that's not where the comparison is. It's with Jesus,
Yeah.
who is perfect.
And who loves us.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
That's a great place to end. Well, go ahead and look up that wonderful scubla word, and we will be back next week. You're doing next week, right, Pastor Adrian?
I might, yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I would
well-
imagine with the confirmands.
Yes, I think so.
Or maybe Scott will be with the confirmands. Anyway, it'll be a
Yeah.
next week, so make sure you tune in because we've got the squirrely things going on.
Sounds good.
Yeah, go with God. See you next week.